Salutations everyone, my name is Allan Aldroid, and do you know what's the worst part about having funky, snazzy, memorable logo? There's not enough Helvetica, damn it!
Take a look at these cool logos. Now let me ruin them. Boom. Mediocrity.
Redesigns have been pretty common and have been around for ages. What, do you expect Disney to keep the same logo? No, they needed a castle in it!
Designs will shift over time as they perfect their logo. You can see this when you look at logos of companies that have been around for quite a while, like Nintendo. But when looking back at them, you can see a nice gradual shift from their roots to where they are now. It can reflect a company as they were at the time, as well as the time period. Like this one. I don't know what it is about it, but I love this logo so much. It just screams the 1950s in a charming way, but it's still recognizable as similar to the modern logo that we see today. Some companies like Sony will completely jump tracks sometimes and go, hey look, I'm a 50s logo too. Holy moly, this was the 1950s? If people got mad over the Spotify green changing, I dread to think what happened over this drastic logo. With that being said, I love how they kept to this design. It still stands out to this day and they've barely changed the logo over half a century. It's a truly great design. Coca-Cola had a wonderful transitional period from basic typeface to the wonderfully crafted curvy logo that has truly stood the test of time. Yeah, some companies like to experiment and go a bit too far, to which the general public like to say, no. One good example is the Gap logo. Such a cool logo. It's bold, stands out, they turned it into a tech company logo. Gap changed their logo all the way back in 2010 from this to this monstrosity of sans serif and blandness. This logo was adopted during the slump sales from the financial crisis of 2008 and was created by Lard and Partners and was estimated to have cost $100 million to make? Well, where did the other $99,999,961 go? The blue square? This redesign was supposed to represent a more contemporary modern expression and a brand new direction for the company. What kind of direction were they trying to go for? Phone repairs? Another spokesman from Gap said that the new logo is supposed to show Gap's transition from the classic American design to modern, sexy, and cool. Ah yes, because when I think of company logos, I think, dear God, I want that logo in my bed.
The public outcry from this awful redesign forced Gap to go back to their original logo in less than a week, and after all, I don't blame them. Change is scary and you have no idea what you're going to get. Sometimes, however, it could be good. Take Colonel Sanders, for example. He went from a lovely old grandpa to a sex symbol. KFC, you never cease to amaze me.
However, it's safe to say Gap have learned their $100 million lesson and reverted back to their old logo, and companies can look at this disaster fest and safely nod in agreement that people aren't a big fan of the whole modernized logo shtick. Right? The future is here, ladies and gentle gamers, and it is one I don't want to be a part of. Where on earth is all the style, the flair, the uniqueness that a logo should have? Logos for things like Subway and Burger King took their logo design and decided to devolve it backwards, quite literally. The new Subway logo now looks near identical to the Subway logo from the late 60s, which is fine, I guess. It's hard to tell if they're going back to these old school looks because they want to bring a more vintage feel to their brand, or because they just so happen to be similar to the brand new trend of bold sans serif typeface. Apparently, minimalism is the brand new hip thing and companies seem to love it, going from interesting stylized logos and fonts to bland, boring, and more basic than the 14-year-olds at Starbucks. Ah, the Starbucks logo. I'm so glad they haven't messed with you. I'm going to lose it. Today we're going to look at a few awful redesigns in my opinion that fully explain my hatred of the redesigned world, and hopefully you'll come to learn why I don't like them. Just a note I want to bring up, I don't despise simplistic logos. I feel like they can be great. I mean, the current logos for TheAldroid are simplistic and I love how they look. Pizza Hut pretty much kept their same logo and instead turned it white and gave it a lovely abstract looking red circle background, which I think looks really nice. One of my favourite examples of a good redesign is Google. Going from this to this was a lovely step up, but it kept the same design features the previous one had, such as different coloured letters. The previous one, looking back, pretty much dates the company now. The beveled letters and the font choice does seem pretty 90s in my opinion. They took the beveling out in 2013, which gave it a much nicer look, but I really like this logo. This is a logo redesign done right. This does not. The new Ubisoft logo doesn't even look finished. These parts stick out really awkwardly, which makes the logo look rushed to hell and extremely ugly. The new font choice isn't too bad in my opinion, but oh man, the flipping what did you do to it? Is it intentional? This doesn't look right. When I first saw this, I was so confused because I thought this was a mistake, but nope. It was designed like this for some ungodly reason, which makes the logo look even more broken and unpolished. Just like a Ubisoft game. A really easy fix for this logo is to just make the main graphic circular properly. That'll go miles in fixing it to making it similar how it used to look while keeping the minimalistic approach. Also, fix your flipping O's, man. This doesn't even look intentional. You can't tell me that this doesn't look like someone screwed up while exporting the final file. There is no reason for it to be broken other than, whoa, we're quirky, our marketing team can't draw circles, please buy Assassin's Creed again. I can see what they were trying to go for, which is a more stripped down version of their old logo, which is fine, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't be too against it. I do like the font choice, but it just looks incomplete and rushed to oblivion. Bad logo. Go back, game company.
Another design of modern logos are abstract, in which a company will take their current logo and tweak it a little bit to appeal to a modern, quirkier audience. However, the last thing you want to do is take it so far it turns into an eyesore. Unfortunately for Kia, that's what they did.
Yes, we're talking about car manufacturers now, because the first thing you'd obviously think about when you look at me is definitely a car lover. Kia, they make and sell cars. Do I need to say more? They were also home to a wonderfully simple and lovely looking logo that they had since the 90s. It's bold and stands out perfectly on a car. The thick letters allow it to be easily readable and let it keep its own style. It already looked modern enough in my opinion and looked absolutely incredible. So what the hell happened here? The logo was written in this weird font that makes the ear part look like a backwards N. It hurts my brain to look at. Why is the A on this really weird slant? Just unslant it and the logo will be easier to read. And also, what is this font choice? It keeps the boldness, sure, but the K is written so weirdly. If you take off the ear part, you could probably pawn this off as some weird obnoxious logo for IT. They even got rid of the oval part.
Not the oval part!
Oh no, it's serviceable I guess. As long as you don't stare at it for too long, your brain won't rot trying to read it. For some reason, companies can't find a balance between having a logo that looks funky and appealing to look at. It's not impossible. Look at Pinterest's logo. Such a nice looking font and everything just looks so nice. Oh, for the love of...
No company is safe anymore. It doesn't matter what the company represents. It's still gonna fall in line and it becomes boring as macaroni cheese without the cheese or the macaroni.
TGI Fridays, bam! Redesign, Patreon, circles and a flipping line. MasterCard, bleeding MasterCard is now just 2 circles. MasterCard's new logo suggests the future where payment is digital. No it doesn't, it suggests that... I'm gonna Venn diagram your mother. Got him!
Not only do they look all bad, they all look the damn same. It's the same font style, the same abstract shapes all cobbled together for like baby's first Photoshop project. What's next? Popular communications company primarily centered around games is going to change their logo from unique to boring. Why must you hurt me in this way?
No! What even is this font choice? What was wrong with the old logo? It was perfect. Now Discord looks like a cheap knockoff of the original. I can't put my finger on it, but this logo just looks so bland. It's as if they put no effort into redesigning their entire brand. I don't understand why it needs to be redesigned. I mean, the old logo was just a modified version of the Uni Sans heavy font. Nothing spectacular, but at least it looked uniform and clean. Many people, including myself, really didn't like the new logo when it was unveiled. It's not that it was extraordinarily bad, it was just like, it didn't need to be changed. What was wrong with the old logo that needed it to be changed? Well, in a post on the Discord blog, the primary reason why they wanted to change up the logo is because they felt the current design was deceivingly restrictive, which made creating interface elements, art assets, and merch items difficult. What made the logo restrictive was in fact their main mascot guy, which was encased in this rectangular box.
Really? It was deceivingly restrictive? You could have just removed the box, not changed the entire flippin' logo.
I'm not a graphic designer, but how was this old logo restrictive? What was it about this old box that was so awful in Discord's eyes that it changed up the entire font? The problem the design team had was with this little part of the speech bubble that stuck out, which apparently made it incredibly difficult to make more assets or merch items, because having too many dark colour white logo merch was enough for them. Personally, I don't see much of a problem with the new Discord icon. It looks alright and looks a lot easier to make things such as badges with the icon on. It's just the font choice itself that looks ass. It was changed to capture the playfulness of Discord. What playfulness? Overall, this logo just looks messy and fake. It's a shame they didn't just keep the old word mark and kept the new image piece. It would have been a whole lot better.
And there you have it, gamers and shamers, why I think most modern logo redesigns look downright awful. If there's no point in changing a logo, why change it in the first place? The only logo redesign I can excuse is the Aldroid logo from this to this. Why do I excuse it? Look at this old font choice. If I kept using this, Android would have sued me.